And just like that, it's 8 minutes after. 8 minutes after 12. Apparently, having 12 beers already today. Hello, fam. How are ya?
I'm all good, thanks, Kerry. I think Johns can't hear you because he's pointing at his ears.
You know, John, if we'd done this beforehand, how's that? Too loud or you good?
No, it's fine. I'm just going deaf.
Wait, do you want it louder? Is it fine?
No, it's fine, thank
How
you.
are you,
You've
Bash?
just had your ears fixed and they're deaf again. Jeez, I can't believe it. He's going through a
It's the
midlife
cold weather.
crisis. Is it the cold?
Guys, it's flippin' cold. They said apparently it's snowing at Notties.
I saw
Really?
that there's snow on Sani, but I didn't know about Notties, but that's very interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why it's so cold.
You don't do well on the cold day.
It's not my favourite
Why?
thing. I don't know why it is, because we're born and bred in Durban, and I think our blood is thinner, and when it gets cold,
How's your bones and stuff in the cold?
my bones are perfect.
But you don't have any arthritis?
No, I don't get pain. I just don't particularly. I actually do enjoy the cold if you've got the right equipment to wear. So being in the cold with a warm jacket and that is fun.
Do you have the right equipment for the cold, Bash?
I do have the right equipment. Going to Kersney, and I left there yesterday afternoon. It was 10 degrees at Kersney.
No, ew.
10 degrees. And got home, it was 14.
Do you
So
have,
it was cold for Durban.
Do you have seat warmers? in
Yes,
your
do you
car?
have seat warmers?
No, I don't have.
My new car's got a massage.
Stop it.
Yeah, it has.
Seriously?
You're gonna fall asleep driving. You better turn
feels
that
like
off.
counterintuitive to safe driving.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like if I was getting a massage while driving, I might.
Definitely.
Not
Dangerous.
that. And it's a back massage.
Here we go.
back
Here we go
massage.
again.
Oh, it's fun. Then I'll stay away.
Okay.
Kerry, now let me ask you about your little sojourn up the coast on the weekend. How was
Yes.
that rhino run?
The
Was it the
run.
run?
Guys, it was amazing. All I'm saying is I can't wait for you to see the CEO because she's got some stories to tell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
She had a jaw.
Did she?
A
Did she
jaw.
overindulge?
Well, you see, I was working, so
What were
I had
you
to
doing?
keep my ish together. I emceed the auction. I emceed the run. I emceed for them. So I was like doing things. Then I taught a yoga class. And Fiona was so funny. There's a video of her watching me teach yoga. And then she pans to herself and she's drinking an Aperol. And she's like, that's why we work. It's balance. No, it was amazing.
I saw that. actually.
It was a
Because
lot of
you were
fun.
doing a lot of stretching and
I
that.
was doing a lot of
Do
stretching.
you do a lot of stretching?
Yeah, I stretch a lot.
Stretch.
Not really. I don't need to. I'm a natural athlete.
Why don't you two come to the Rhino ride? It's end of August, and that one you can use an e-bike. You don't even have to ride if you don't want. You can just chill with
I
us.
thought we were going to ride a rhino.
Ah, well, I mean,
I'd love to ride a
I
rhino.
think I might.
I rode an ostrich once. That was a frightening experience, man.
I don't think I'd
was
ride
it very
an ostrich.
bumpy? I don't presume it would be a smooth
Now, were you
ride.
what an ostrich?
Yeah.
No, you don't. You
Pull its neck.
You pull its neck if you want to go forward.
What?
Yeah,
I
and
would
you
definitely
push
do a
its
bar
neck
mistake.
if you want it to break. But the problem is, I mixed it up.
Of course, it
And
feels like that.
I pulled it, and it went into a gate at 100 mile an hour.
Thank goodness you don't fly helicopters, John. There might be a bit of a drama.
No, I'm not going to do any helicopters.
grief.
But that was a frightening.
How was your
Excellent.
How was your weekend? More importantly, how was those? What did you do all day Sunday?
Gold Cup?
Very
Gold
good
Cup.
day,
Oh,
wasn't
how
it?
was it?
Gold Cup races.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. It's hard work to try and get a win, but we did get one win on 18.
Can you believe
Was it
that?
a filly or a boy?
That's a boy.
Damn, I just love saying filly, so I was hoping it was a
We
filly.
wouldn't know that kind of thing, but
That's quite
this
a
is
bit
such a
more
good
detail
horse.
for us. Yeah.
Such a good horse, but it just hasn't won for so long.
Mm.
And eventually, I said this weekend it has to, and it's too good a horse not to. And it performed for us, Kerry.
They won.
200 meters out, it just like hit this turbo. It's like it's got this little switch.
And it
Just-
went, eh?
It took off. Man, it was a great race.
But we didn't win anything else. It was actually a very difficult day. But we only bet smaller, like 5,
Yeah.
10 rand bets, just for
Yeah,
the
that's
fun.
nice.
Yeah, we know
And,
our limits
yes.
based on how much.
Plum
we-
had a bet yesterday to win about 250 rand on a multi for 8 rand.
Yes.
And you know that normal story, the last one.
Yes.
The last one's still running.
Let me down. But
So-
shout out
so-
to Hollywood Bets team. They won the first 3 races in a row.
Brilliant.
Oh, really?
Yesterday, yeah.
Sheesh.
Brilliant.
I'll text Hefson. He said to him, "Well done," because that's
Yeah,
a massive
yeah,
thing.
that's a
First
big
three,
thing.
That is big.
Yeah.
first three races.
Well,
Beautiful
we
horses.
were watching lots of horses because after last week when we sat here and we said, geez, we watched all the rugby and we had the Open, there was so much to watch. This weekend there was a drought of rugby almost. You know, there wasn't a whole
No,
lot
there was
on.
no rugby. It was
Other
a bit
than
of
a bit
a
of-
sort of a detox.
Yeah, detox.
Detox
yeah.
rugby.
What's the
Did you end up shaking by Sunday, or
Excuse
did
me, this is a family radio station.
shaking? from the
I was
detox.
shaking from madness from that multi that went out the window, not from
you
anything
weren't
else.
over worried about the rugby?
No, not.
No,
it was nice to
that's
have a bit of
quite.
breather.
I do. Yeah,
I actually
that's
did watch a bit of the Curry Cup. I wanted to just
Yeah, we
see what
watched
was
the
going on.
Sharks
Yeah,
play,
yeah. But other than that, there was no high intensity test rugby or anything that we've had of
And
late.
if I'm looking at our TMO for today, it's saying her score results. But I mean, have school rugby started again?
Yes, first
But
weekend back.
before we go there, I just want to talk about an experience that I had.
Okay, now
yesterday.
I'm all ears.
Okay.
Because I had a medical, not emergency, but something I was a little bit worried about. So I went to the doctor and he checked me out, was actually a surgeon, checked me out, and I got a surprise.
I know.
I don't like surprises. I don't like
Wait.
surprises.
Is this like a well executed joke, or are you going to really?
No,
tell
this
us
is
about
for
the
real. He
prostate
did go.
cancer?
I didn't know that this.
Yes, you've nailed it. He asked me to roll over, and I didn't expect it coming. So I did tell the guy, I did tell him, look, I hardly know you, because I like to get to know my doctors that check my bottom.
Yeah.
But I didn't know this guy very well, and then sort of just a quick 5-minute chat. It's like it's hardly even foreplay. There's nothing going on.
That was a Tinder swipe.
Just
Really?
pull your
So
knees up.
now I'm rolling over, and now I'm just praying that he's gentle, and
What is it, like a gloved finger, or was it a?
well, I hope he had a glove on.
Okay, well, yes. Or is it a?
I'm sure he had
But
a
it's a
glove.
hand. It's not a.
He's a
an
professional.
instrument.
He's a professional.
No, it's a hand.
No. But what the point I'm trying to make is that I went there not knowing that this was going to happen, and it happened, and I was like so relieved afterwards because he said, "No, you're all good, John." And but I've got to have something else done. I don't want to talk about that on the radio, but
It's
this
too late.
is
We're
something
here.
I actually think it's better not to know.
that you're going to get a finger up your bum.
Yeah. Because you would have gone and relaxed, not worrying about it.
Yeah,
I
I
had
was a
to
bit
go for one at
anxious.
the beginning of the year, and I knew it was coming, and it was very
A
traumatic.
stressful day.
Yeah. I walked into the surgeon, and he was a lovely guy. But my first place I looked wasn't at his face. I looked at the size of his fingers. I just wanted to see how
Yeah,
big they were.
big boy. Yeah, well, this guy's quite big.
And
fingers.
I was very, very nervous. But luckily, all was good.
Yeah. Well,
I am intrigued by this. I'm impressed. Thank you for even talking about it, because I think a lot of men went
we're
to
gonna-
the doctor for this.
13 to 14,000 men a year are diagnosed with prostate cancer. Do you know that? And you know what? 3,500 men a year die in South Africa from prostate cancer. It's the highest killing
Wow.
cancer. So please, shout out to all the men out there. I know there's lots listening. Don't be scared. Look, it's a little bit uncomfortable for a second, but get over yourself. The relief afterwards when you're okay is just
Well,
it's
colon
just so nice.
cleansers are very trendy at the moment. And for a colon cleanse, you go to one of these colon spaces and they roll you over and they put a pipe up your bum. And then they clean your colon out by flushing it with warm liquid and then releasing. So I think we can handle.
Well, I think if you compare like a service to a car, a colon clean is like a full service. That's
100%.
like you pay like an extra 2,000 rand for that.
Exactly.
Whereas another service you do the battery and the tyres and
Exactly.
stuff like that. That's like
The
that's
normal
a
service.
2,000 rand, but that's another level service you're getting if you compare it to a vehicle. We're not comparing our bums to exhausts, but
For those of you
they
tuning
are.
in.
But that's
Kiri,
but-
I've now that you've brought this up, I have to tell a story.
Yes.
no, not about me.
Yeah.
No, so we were sitting in 1 year in the Bulls on a Friday night, and a very sad thing, one of our coach's brother-in-laws passed away on that Friday night from prostate cancer. And it was traumatic. We're
Yeah.
sitting there having a drink, and next minute, this guy's no longer. And our doctor at the table says, guys, it's very sad, but in today's day and age, prostate cancer, you can deal with it, So he said, on Monday, I want all of you to come and see me, and we're going to do it. So we all went on Monday, and he did what he needed to do and took the bloods and every way. So Wednesday in rugby is generally your day off.
Yes.
So I'm sitting at home on my Wednesday on the day off, and my phone rings, and it's the doc. And he's Bashi, and I can hear in his voice.
No.
And my heart sunk, And he said, look, I've got some bad news about the test.
No.
And there in the background, I hear this idiot laughing.
Oh my
He set me up
gosh,
to think I had
man.
prostate cancer.
John.
It wasn't very funny.
You need to move on from that. It's a long time ago.
I'm like an elephant. I've got a long memory.
I can see that. But
Not fun at all.
Okay, I'm going to officially apologise for doing that on
we
national
go.
radio.
we go.
But anyway, so get a prostate examination, and you know what, Bash, have you had yours done lately?
I
Seriously?
did in January, I promise you. It wasn't,
Oh.
but I had
Okay.
another issue and
Right.
I got it tested.
'Cause I was
and I knew
gonna-
it was coming, and it was traumatic for me because I knew, like,
'Cause
I
I
think
was
you're
gonna-
always better.
Because the doc, I mean, it's not a hard thing to do. I'm going to take you for lunch and maybe a nice glass of wine, and you get it sorted out. No, that can't.
No.
Okay, I won't do that then. I was going to use my little finger.
That
This
was.
is TMO, where we talk about balls and bums.
I thought this was a
Obviously,
rugby show. Yeah.
and
I
prostate.
told you there was no
But
rugby.
we're versatile.
There's no rugby. We go straight
So we're
to the
making
fun.
small talk today.
Yeah.
We're going to have lots of music.
And
as
we're
well.
gonna have-
Okay.
We've had a bit of fun out of it, but the message from me is, and
Yeah,
from
exactly.
the Bash band here, get it checked out. You'll feel relieved afterwards.
Definitely.
And we do as men have responsibilities to our family to make sure that we're healthy, so that we can provide. Lovely.
Very
School
good,
results,
John.
Bash man.
Yeah, so first week back, only 3 games. Like we've chatted before, not everyone plays rugby in this term. So college hosted Uffies from Pretoria, very, very strong school. Very, very tight at half time, 12-5 to Uffies. And the final score, 40 points to 12. The irony of that is we spoke last week about how this long break in between the seasons, whether it's a good idea to play third term rugby or not. And I picked up on the school website that Uffies last played on the 23rd of May before last weekend, which was the 25th of July. So a 2-month break. And his comment was, the first half they were very rusty because they hadn't been together in XYZ, and they got it together in the second half to win 40-12. So just interesting to see that, because we spoke about it last week.
I'd
Glenwood,
love to know how many injuries there were.
well, I don't know that, but that's a concern for me, is the layoffs and
It's the
people
contact.
coming back
Yeah,
in
it's the contact
underprepared,
training.
you know. Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. Glenwood hosted Northwood on their Old Boys Day, and Glenwood, like we have mentioned a number of times, are in a rebuilding stage. Northwood currently in the top 10 in the country, really good team, and blew them away 82-23. So
Man.
unfortunate day there for
That
Glenwood.
would have been that's a massive scoreline. That probably wouldn't have been like that in the past, though. Is that just the
No,
the
it's
sheer
the last few years Glenwood have had a few things going on in their school. They've changed headmaster a couple of times, and it wasn't long ago Glenwood were the top rugby school in Natal, dominant, you know, and they had a few issues, change of a couple of headmasters, and if you take your eye off your rugby program for too long, things change very
Suffer,
quickly,
yeah.
you know, so it takes a long time to get it right.
recover.
But if you drop the ball, it can go pear-shaped relatively quickly.
Excuse
you
the
know?
pun.
Yeah, excuse the pun. And then the last game was DHS at home to Jeppe, and a 21-all draw. So that was the games on the weekend. Win for Uffies, win for Northwood, and a draw for DHS.
Is there anything on this weekend?
We do have 3 games on this weekend. College travel up to Pretoria Boys. They hosted Pretoria Boys a little while ago.
College
and
will be too strong for them, eh?
they will be. Yeah, they at home. I think
Yeah.
they beat Pretoria by 50 points a couple of weeks back. So I would think that. But you know what the sport's like. Home game up in Joburg, cold weather, anything could happen. DHS host Northwood, and Glenwood travel to Parktown. You know, so let's hope for Glenwood that they matched against Parktown. Also been going through a little bit of a transition in their rugby of late. So hopefully they can start winding down and have a good result towards the end of the season.
DHS North will be a good game.
Cracker.
Yeah, that'll be a
Cracker.
good game.
Don't actually
Where's
know
that?
what to call it.
At
It's at
DHS.
DHS. They played the first round at Northwood, and Northwood won in the last minute with a kick from the corner, so it was a great day for them.
Okay.
But this is going to be a proper test match for those
Oh,
two
I might
schools
get
this
across and
weekend.
watch that if it's at DHS. What do you think, Bashy?
Yeah, let's go and do it. It's going to be a really good outing there. Two good sides, both in the top 10, and should be a real cracker.
Okay, good luck to both teams.
Yeah.
Curry Cup, so, yep, Cheetahs 43, Sharks 21, Greek was 56, Bulls 26, Lions 52, Pumas 29, Borland 41, Stormers 3. Wow. So we're looking at the Stormers, we're looking at the Bulls, and we're looking at the Sharks, all getting massive scorelines against them.
Yeah, and all URC teams,
Yeah, well, they're not URC teams, are they?
unions,
Right,
URC
okay.
unions, you know.
Yeah, but this is the thing, isn't it? So, you know, I guess for me it's tough for the unions, isn't it? We've got URC players right now, they're all in pre-season training, so they're getting ready for a long season coming. There's still the Curry Cup to be played, there's still under-20s to be played, and of course the URC teams with internationals, those boys aren't available because obviously the reasons why the All Blacks coming up now. So there's a lot of players and unions that aren't available to play Curry Cup. So this is what stresses the unions financially, because they've got to come up with a squad of, say, 28 to 30 players to play in Curry Cup when you've already got, say, 28 to 30 training to get fit. So now you're looking around 60 players, and that's without your internationals. And if you've got 6 or 7 internationals players in your club, now you're looking at like close to 70 players.
Well, the Sharks might have about 13 last year or the years before, so even more, you know.
Yeah.
So that's a massive amount of players that need to be
and the
employed.
Curry Cup, they want to encourage it to be competitive, but how can the unions afford to play Curry Cup players? Plus, most of the under-20s are all contracted, and of course, URC players are fully contracted and quite expensive. And of course, the internationals are really expensive. So you know, you're getting these players coming back from Curry Cup to play for Curry Cup teams, which are on, you know, quite high money. You know, you'd be probably between 7 to 1.2 million rand for them to play in the Curry Cup, and then they're not probably good enough to be dominant in the URC. So it's like, this is what I don't get with the Curry Cup. I think it's got to become semi-professional, and you know, probably almost part-time. I know it's still a great little development competition for players. We're seeing some players
and coaches, isn't it? I think for some young coaches, getting an opportunity to coach in the Curry Cup is. I was chatting to Mark Vowles during the week, just finding out about the under-20s and the Curry Cup, how that all works. And ironically, the under-20s they play curtain raiser to the Curry Cup team in Cape Town on the weekend. So there again, you've got your Curry Cup and your under-20s playing on the same day in Cape Town. So it's also depth, you know, how much
We're
depth
not
do you need?
relying on the Curry Cup to develop URC players, are we? Because we've got our academies, we've got our under-20s. Yes, the Curry Cup allows maybe some gold nuggets to come out of some provinces that are can help a URC team potentially, but you know, you have to say that majority of our development is coming out through the under-20s. That's where the star players are generally playing, and it's really just guys that are making up the numbers in Curry Cup that are going through to URC. So again, and I'll go back to how expensive it is for the unions to be paying for these players, like this amount of players. So yeah, no, it's
very recently you've got players coming straight out of school into the national team. You know, so those guys aren't even. Yeah. So they're missing the under-20s and the Curry Cup, and they go from being relatively cheap players to becoming expensive overnight by one cap.
Yep. Well, if you're good enough and you're young, the Russies attitudes will put you in. As long as you're good enough. Age really doesn't have a factor anymore, does it?
No.
So, but watching the Cheetahs game, Bashy, or the Sharks game?
You know, I mean, we watched together, and it was really entertaining. Like, sort of was chaotic, but that made it entertaining, you know. And I mean, what stood out for me, if we want to, we can talk a little bit about the game, but for me, there was one player that stood out like you can't believe, and that was Faf de Klerk, you know. So it was amazing when you put a world-class athlete and rugby player in a pretty a game like the Curry Cup, how much influence he had. You know, I think it was 14-all at halftime. He had influence in both the tries. He scored one himself, and then he found space behind the line with a little grubber for Nkabinda, I think, in the first half. And you know, he just was phenomenal. You know, like he stood out like you can't believe. So I think if you get a guy like, it just shows like the standard of the competition. When you see real quality, it stands out a lot in that game. But the game itself, I mean, there wasn't much in it. You know, going into the Sharks took the lead for the first time in the 65th minute. I'm lying, in the 51st minute to go 24-21 up. And then a yellow card by Bryce Culvert in minute 74 allowed them to score 2 quick tries. It went from being 29-21 to 43-21.
Yeah, Cheetahs just looked like they upped the speed of the game, didn't they?
Did.
Faf was taking quick taps, off he went. The Sharks, didn't really have a lot coming off the bench by the looks of it.
And going to your point there, Plummy, those Cheetahs and the Boerlands, they've been playing together for a long time. They don't have a lot of players going in and out their squads, and that's sort of I think the major unions will get better as the competition grows, but at the moment those big scores are quite concerning.
Yeah, well, you'll see some URC players sprinkling in after the URC teams play the All Blacks, and then they'll start sprinkling back in for games. So the back end of the competition will probably see the competition getting a little bit stronger and players, being introduced into the competition. But it's a pretty tough watch when you're seeing, Greek was 56, Bulls 26, isn't it? Lions, obviously, I don't know what they're doing, but they look like they must be playing some of the URC players, unless they've got incredible depth underneath their URC team. Because we know Pumas are always a pretty competitive side. So, and the Stormers 41, getting 41 points. I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, I watched. I watched
they've
that.
got great depth, haven't they?
They should have. I mean, they do recruit well, And but I watched that game on Sunday, and I was really impressed with Boerland. There's another minor union that's putting its hand up and playing beautiful rugby. Really, Harvey's Faris coaching them. He's been around the block, and he's the type of rugby they're playing looked really. It was a good day in the Boerland. The weather was great, but they scored some unbelievable tries starting in their own 22, and was really good to watch. But some of the province defence was really questionable. So one thing that there was a guy called Xavier Mitchell playing for Boerland. And the commentators, when he scored a try, said, that's Chester Williams' nephew. So just nice to see some of the old boys' nephews and families growing through playing in the Boerland. And
do you know I played rugby with Chester Williams?
I can imagine you did.
Yeah,
in the sevens.
Sevens.
Well,
yeah.
you played
So,
South African sevens. I don't think too many people know that.
What?
Our Kiwi is a Springbok.
Wait.
I've got the Springbok jersey in my cupboard at home. I wear it proudly.
Yeah.
You played Springbok Sevens.
Yeah, I did 2 years. Yeah, in Hong Kong. It was the best.
That's look at you.
The best. Yeah. So.
Quite a deal, hey.
No.
Plum, you're a deal.
And we're talking Curry
So
Cup
humble.
now. Do you know that John Plumtree played as a player in the 1990 Curry Cup final where we beat the Bulls for the first time? He then coached the Sharks in 2008, winning the Curry Cup after 12 years. And that was in the old stall. We're talking about when the Curry Cup was at its strength, And then in 24, 2 years back, beating the Lions in Joburg, that Jaden Hendricks a kick on the halfway line in injury time.
How was that kick?
To win our 9th title. So I don't think there's anyone else that can talk about that. That might be going through the playing days back then, Plummy, into coaching in 2008, and what that experience in 24 would have been a little bit of a different experience based on what we're just talking about at the moment.
I love playing for the Sharks through the 90s with that quality team that we had, that Mac brought together. I'll get to talk about it one day in a bit more depth, but it's definitely the best time of my life playing for that team. So many outstanding characters, and being coached by a guy like Mac. It was a really special period for Natal Rugby, and then having the honour to go on to win Curry Cups as a coach has been been great.
Wow.
So yeah, but we'll talk about me another day. We've got a longer show to talk about me, maybe.
Maybe we actually do a full hour one day with you, Coach, where we do that sit down like I do with others, and we come and we get to know you, like from,
You want to get to know me better,
do
you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Out of 10, what would you give him?
1.
Ah,
That was my son. I
Well,
still haven't got over that.
That's because Tane is not. Look, if I was single,
I noticed Tane's thing on the wall for the first time today. Did you
I
see
did,
that?
Of course, I saw that. He said, "Finally, what did he say? The better plum. You had to
The
find
better.
the better plum."
There's Plumtree in here talking sense.
I'm not sure. Just now, you guys are talking about someone just written on TikTok. The pipeline. The pipeline only exists for a selected few, those who are exposed to the system. I'm not sure when you were talking about the pipeline, but I didn't want that comment to go in case that was. You guys saw, no?
I'm not sure the pipeline.
Okay, maybe they're going back to
We
the
mentioned-
Surfing.
Oh, maybe
Surfing.
we're talking about your colonoscopy. The pipeline.
Pipeline.
No. And sorry, I don't know why I did that. Let's continue.
Well, we're going to continue by talking about the greatest centre ever in world rugby is coming to play at the Sharks.
My Nonu.
Wow.
Do you know why? I mean, I've met Ma a number of times with you, Plum, and I don't know him well. But do you know why I think I really like my Nonu?
Tell me.
Because one day in Dunedin,
Yeah.
We were playing there, and my nonu arrived and bought a big bag of crayfish and paua. So that's what we call it, paua. For Plum at the
abalone.
hotel, abalone, and we had such a feast, and that was Plummy's mate Mai went out of his way, bought us crayfish and that, and just seemed like such a nice guy to get going and look after us on our tour, our 5-week tour of New Zealand. You must have plenty of stories about Mai. You know, you coached him for a long time.
I coached Mar for a long time, the Wellington Lions, and then with the Hurricanes. Outstanding character. I've got 3 boys back in Wellington. They're beautiful, and he's a great guy. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what his role is over here. We talked about it. Let me just tell a little story which I've never forgotten. So back in New Zealand, I was in hospital. I seem to
Again,
again.
maybe you're not so well, eh?
No, maybe not. But I
I
was.
just think of a clip of just all the time John talks about when.
So I had a back operation and I had to be transferred to another hospital in the morning, like early, like 6 a.m. I had to be transferred. So Lara was busy with the boys. She couldn't do it because they're a bit young and they had to go off to different schools and stuff. So I connected with Ma and said, listen, mate, before training, can you come and just do me a favour, pick me up? Because I know he goes to training early. Pick me up and just take me to the hospital. So he texts back, yeah, sure, Plum, what time, blah, blah, blah. And of course, him and Artie turn up to the hospital. And
Artie, he would have been a youngster.
He followed Ma around. He was like just learning from Ma at that stage. And they both put me in a wheelchair and wheeled me out to the car park, put me in their Ford Ranger and transferred me to the hospital before going to and then they dropped there, because I was still working, actually. I was still cutting clips for I think we were playing Chiefs a week later or something like that. And so Ma took my computer to give to the analyst to put show the team around some defensive clips or something like that. So, no, we're talking about an outstanding character. And I just hope the time he's got here, because I think he's only here for 3 or 4 months, but the time he's got here, if you get to bump into him, you'll find out what type of guy he is. He's lovely guy, but it's going to be interesting to see what type of role he has to play at the Sharks. I'm not quite sure, will he play much? Would you don't mind? I don't know.
Well, I went in. That's the thing, is what is his role? I've read that he's going to be a mentor to develop the young talent in the union. And I mean, based on what his character and that kind of stuff, I read something about him which said Nonu is one of the quietest, most humble players in professional rugby. And for a player who's achieved so much, just looking at where he's been, if you look at age, I mean, that's the thing. He's caught a bit of negativity in the press around his age and why the Sharks bring in a player like that, and he's 44 years old. I mean, we don't know if he's even going to play a minute in the URC. Maybe that's not his role, But he did play last year. He's the oldest player to have played in the French top 14 at 43 years old. Just to put that in perspective, the oldest player to have played in the Gallagher Premiership is Brad Thorne, who was 40. And the oldest player in Super Rugby is John Afoa at 39. That's what I picked up, John Afoa. So he's 4 years, he's 44, but I mean, we've South Africa have been inundated with players that are winding down their careers, coming into unions and provinces, and there's been some really good success around that, isn't there?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Ma's going to be a really nice asset for the young players like Terenza Julius and players that they've got in a system that, particularly in the back line, he'll have a big influence. I mean, this guy's played 103 test matches for the All Blacks. So he scored 31 tries. He's a 2 times World Cup winner.
Phenomenal.
When he was 32, 31, 32, he was still, I think might have just finished the All Blacks, but he was changing pretty much his whole eating and training regime. So he actually was starting to do a lot of yoga, Kerry, you'd be happy to know, and doing a lot of Pilates, that type of movement to keep his body going. And he's such a good pro that, that was probably a little bit of a maybe we'll get him in here on the show one day. I'm sure we will, but he will be, he's just obviously found a bit of what's a sort of like an extension of his rugby life through just changing his habits around training, So he started doing clearly more of yoga and those types of mobility movements, to keep his body going, So I mean, don't expect a 32-year-old,
Rolls
a
Royce.
30-year-old man not to turn up and start ripping it up, but it's not ultimately what it's all about. I think his role as a role model at the Sharks, maybe good for the Sharks to see a player like that, how he goes about his business. Good learning for them.
Professionalism of being able to keep your body in that shape for that long, I mean, I remember Steph Blanche nowadays, and he's still a machine, he looks fitter now than he was when he was, but he always worked hard and he played hard, and he really was strict on his diet and that kind of stuff, let his hair down every now and then, but really looked after himself.
And you sort of play hard.
Not all the time, no.
But you've forgotten to work hard.
No, I still work hard.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I remember in my cricketing days, geez, I'm going back a while, we had a very young Natal team, and the union decided to bring in a retired Malcolm Marshall from Test cricket. And I don't know how old Mako was at the time, but geez, I can honestly say to you, in that team at the time, we had a young Sean Pollock, Neil Johnson, Lance Klusner, Dale Benkenstein, Ross Veenstra. And if you chat to all of those guys, he made their careers. Chat to Polly, he'll say Malcolm.
Wow.
I mean, he got his first Springbok cap under Malcolm's guidance, and I think in that series against England, he hit 17 people on the head, bowling. And that was Mako. He just brought such belief to these youngsters. I mean, Neil Johnson went on to have a great career. We all know Lance Klusner.
What was the other West Indian boy that played for Natal?
We had a few. We had Hartley Lane. We had Carlos King.
No, the guy that kept hitting the ball out the park all the time with the dreads down his back.
That's Chris Gale.
Chris
He
Gale.
didn't play for the Dolphins.
No, he turned up here to play, but I think he must have got injured and he went back.
Yeah.
I saw him. He got a sponsored BMW when I was in there one day, and was chatting up all the car sales.
And your good mate Carlos, I mean, he did a bit of time. Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Carlos came over as a player as well. Like, I think he must have been 38, but he didn't play much. I think he was just had the one season, but then of course he went on to coach with John Mitchell and Jan Ackerman, and they won a Curry Cup.
Yeah.
Beat us. Well, that's a day
211.
I'll forget.
Jeez.
2011.
What was that trophy you and Mitch used to have you played for?
Howrah Cup.
The Howrah Cup.
Yeah.
So the brother-in-laws had a trophy when they played each other. Whoever won kept the trophy.
I had to hand that over to him.
You gave it to him. I don't think he got it back. God, I don't think he played against him since.
No, he's still got it. He's still got it. It's in his place. Yeah,
on his
yeah,
mantelpiece.
he puts his beer bottle tops into it as his bottle top holder now, which is quite cool.
The Howrah Cup.
We'll make another one, and he'll get buried with one, and I'll get buried with one. Yeah, there's a long.
And then on the rugby side, I mean, just remember when Tony Brown came to the Sharks, and outside him was a young Brad Barrett, and inside him was also a very young Ruan Pino, and there were many others. Waylon Murray was playing at 13, I think, and I remember just seeing how these youngsters grew so much from having an experienced old head.
We should get back 15, 16, 17, 18 players all over 40 to see how we go.
Geez, yeah,
Legends.
exactly.
Get back to legend, call it the legends.
Could make it a thing.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm just really excited about Mark coming to Natal. And
Me too.
I think he's going to add the value like we've seen
Me
with the
too.
Malcolm
My
Marshall
wife
and
loves
Tony
him.
Brown and that kind of stuff.
My wife loves him, so hopefully he'll come and stay with me for a bit. Right,
Well,
AB
that's the
squad.
most important thing that Laura loves.
AB squad named. Okay, brilliant. They're on the plane now, so they'll be travelling cattle class across from. No, they won't, will they?
They won't be
up
cattle
front.
class.
They'll be up front.
Who's
You
your
excited
partner?
about the All Blacks coming back?
I tell you what, I had a meeting with my rugby team, my leaders of my next year's group yesterday, and I just said to them, listen, boys, we're not going to come up with any plans yet because we've got this next month and a half of rugby is going to be so exciting, and I think we got
Let's
two
just
teams.
focus on the rugby, on the All Blacks.
Yeah. So let's just have a look and see what we're going to learn and see, because I think we're in for that kind of series, and
Well, the All
I
Blacks.
can't wait for it, Plummy boy.
Actually, the All Blacks have got a mixture of experience. There's about 7 or 8 guys there that have played 100 caps and over. They've got some youth, some young players that are very exciting. They've got a lot of skill. They've got a lot of power. But Artie's not coming. He's only going to join after 2 or 3 weeks. He's taking a well-deserved break from playing since probably January, pretty hard out.
Is that because he went to Japan? He just hasn't had a break.
That's right. So he's been playing a lot. So he's taking a bit of a couple of weeks to freshen up his body, which I think is a good thing because let's face it, old Artie gets whacked about, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he's going to be a massive, if they're to do well in South Africa, then Artie's going to have to be on top of his game as a leader as well. But they've got a few new caps as well. A lot of, there'll be a number of players that'll play in those provincial games that will be pretty new to South Africa, because a lot of South Africans don't watch Super Rugby anymore. But Tamisi Tavatavanawai.
I'm glad you had to say that.
Tamisi Tavatavanawai. Tavatavanawai, the Big 12 for the Highlanders. He is like a young Ma Nonu. He is powerful. He is a big boy. He can bump, but he can bump defenders off. He's been brilliant for the Highlanders. I think he'll be a real weapon for that midweek team. Who knows? He might even push hard for a spot, but won't get Geordie out of there. But he could be a backup player. Who knows in those Test series? But he is really exciting to watch. We've got a number 8 they've picked from Moana Pacifica. Okay, and his name's Samisi Tupai Tia Ataloa.
Once again, I'm glad I didn't have to announce it. The commentators are in for a hell of a tour.
No, it's like
having to announce these
John can
things.
do with those names what some of us can do with the Zulu names.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some of us.
We come up with GQ. If we
Yeah,
get
exactly.
into trouble, we just come up with that.
Or Elizabeth, eh?
Now,
Yeah,
the commentators are pretty good though, eh? They'll do the work on the players and pronunciations. Another boy, Saili Laakai. So he's a big prop from the Hurricanes, and he's going to be making his debut for the All Blacks. Now he is a good player, pretty much like that young guy down in the Stormers, Portman, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, similar to him. Nice big boy, very mobile around the park, strong carrier. But these 3 boys that I've just named are immense, powerful individuals. Their work rates probably are going to come under questions, but when you put that black jersey on, you just work a bit harder, I believe. I think it's probably, you see that with our players playing for the Springboks. Sometimes they work a little bit harder than they do for the URC teams. Josh Jacob is a 10 from the Chiefs. Sort of a bit of a surprising selection. I thought Cullum Harkin might make it from the Hurricanes, plays 10-15. Really good player, Cullum. But Josh just got in ahead of him. And and Ethan Blackadder recall.
Yes.
That's good for Ethan. His dad Todd, all South Africans will know him, but most South Africans will know Ethan. He's played for the All Blacks before, probably had about 15 tests. Tough as nails, that boy. So I think they've looked like the selection was there. They're looking for players that can work real hard, and they're tough characters, and we'll see a lot of that. The big surprising thing for me is that they left out Duplessis Karifi.
Geez, yeah, I was after watching the whole of Super Rugby, I was really surprised at that. Like especially when you're coming to South Africa, and everyone's saying how to win, you're going to have to slow their ball down and that kind of stuff. Have they made an error there, Plummy, of leaving them out? Is there more to it?
Dupes is a real specialist 7. And like I say, I think if you're going to beat the Boks, you have to be able to slow their ball down. The Boks generally go middle, same way with their ball carriers, and they want momentum. So you've got to slow the ball down so you can get your defence folding, and you can get your D-line set so you can come forward and stop the Boks. Now, Duplessis is a master at that. You can look at all the stats around turnovers, and you might see like a guy like Anton Sekner or Peter Larkai can steal ball, but Dupes can slow ball down as well as steal ball. Artie can do it, but Dupes is built like if Dupes strips off, he looks like a bodybuilder. He is full, just chock-a-block full of muscle. He's sort of like a Heinrich Brousseau, that type of character, like just a guy that.
So he's their Kwaka Smith or Paul.
Well, he's stronger than Kwaka.
Is he?
Kwaka's
bigger than
Kwaka's a good footballer, but probably a better footballer than Kwaka's a sevens player, isn't he?
But a real stealer, like that kind of mentality over
definitely.
the ball. Paul de Villiers, the new guy.
Well, Paul de Villiers is an example. Russie's gone for that real strong fetcher, slows the ball down, and so I was really disappointed that they've left out Dupes. He deserves it. Hurricanes captain had a great season.
There's a question on TikTok for you boys, and I don't know who these people are, so I hope I'm coming at the right time. Love or Richie or Damien as fly half for the big games. Who is the favourite, and is it your favourite?
Well, it's a good question because Bodie Barrett hasn't played in the first 3 tests. He's coming, but I think he'll get the early games against the Stormers, maybe even the Sharks, to prove his worth. I think they'll give Love a bit of a break. He's incumbent now. He's shown that he can run the All Black game and been very consistent. I mean, if you think about the 8, 9, 10, 12 for the All Blacks, that's going to be Artie,
Roigard,
Love, and
well,
Geordie
is
Barrett.
it Love?
It will be Love.
Could Love play somewhere else? Could he play at 15?
He could play 15.
I'll tell you why I asked that is like a lot of these big series that come our way every now and then. It wasn't the last British and Irish Live. Morne Steyn kicked the kick in the last minute to win the game. These massive games are often won by a kick at goal, or a long-range penalty shot or something like that because of the pressure and the intensity of these games. So looking at that, just answering that question that Kerry's just brought, for me, like if I look at the backs, I'm convinced they'll start Roigard, I'm convinced they'll start Geordie at 12, and I'm convinced they'll start Will Jordan. But 13's probably a question. The 10's for me, whether they go with an experienced Geordie at Bowden, all right, and could Love play somewhere else, 15 or anything like that.
I think having Bodie there as potential backup, but then they've got Damien McKenzie that can play 10 and 15, and actually incumbent 15 at this stage. But you where the Box will try and get to the All Blacks is pressurising Love into a panic mode. With their line speed, shutting the space out on the edges. That's what he's going to experience. So, but the nice thing about Ruben Love is that he can also carry. He's a big boy. He can also carry. If he gets shut down, he's got great feet. And you look at that 9 Roigard, he won't transfer pressure. If he feels like there's too much, he'll run himself, and they don't mind working
he's big,
on the field. Yeah,
not scared to run.
I think that Roigard will take pressure off Love, and like we've seen in the test matches, and I also think that Geordie will take pressure off Love. So I think he's got the two probably the best, arguably the best 9 in the world right now. At 9 and 12, you'd have to say Geordie is playing outstanding in the midfield and probably the outstanding midfielder. So, I mean, hey, look, these guys. Let's face it, Geordie's got to look after Delande, doesn't he? And that's a handful.
Task in itself,
Yeah. So,
I mean, do you think the coaches? I mean, they've obviously got an eye on what they think their test team looks like, but before they get to that first test at Ellis Park, they've got the Stormers on a Friday, they've got the Sharks on a Tuesday, and they've got the Bulls on a Saturday going into that. Do you think there's some it's going to be almost give them a bit of like a trial, and there's people that are going to be playing their hearts out there? Or, do you think the guys can play themselves into the test team?
I think that will be the message, but I think what we'll see is the Stormers game, I think, will be an understrength All Black team. It'll be their midweek team. I think the Sharks, unfortunately, might be facing the test team, close to the test team, and then I think they'll go back to the Stormers, the side that played the Stormers for the Bulls game, is it?
Yeah, that's the week before.
And then that will give those test players a time to get ready for the first test. So I think that's probably how they'll do it. They could mix it a little bit for the first 2 games, but if they're worried about somebody, but I think they've got their 23 for the first test. I think they'll probably work that out already. So, but we'll wait and see. But I think it could be a tough one for the Sharks if they play in the test team.
So that's right. I mean, the Stormers 7th, Friday the 7th, Sharks Tuesday the 11th, Bulls Saturday the 15th. So there's a lot of rugby in a short space of time, and then there's a week off between the Saturday against the Bulls to the first test at Ellis Park. I mean, it's going to be fascinating. Like I said, I think everyone's been talking about power versus speed. That's going to be the challenge. But just listening to some of these new players you've mentioned, I'm not. You know what? It's not like New Zealand doesn't have power. Like, are we just assuming that South Africa's got power and New Zealand don't have power? There's a lot of big boys there.
Luke Jacobson came out in the media and said they just can't wait to get over there to shut everyone up.
Yeah.
And I sort of looked at their comment, well, who's he shutting up? Because it's just the fans or media, isn't it, going on about how good the Box are? But they've got the rights to crow from the top, haven't they? Because they're World Cup champions and they're coming to play the best team in the world currently. But they'll be looking forward to it. I mean, you're right. I mean, I think the main concerns for the Kiwis are scrum and and
Set
the
piece.
Springboks defence, or the Springboks defence, and dealing with the high ball. They know that's coming. So how they get around that's going to be important. If you look at the All Black game, it's based around what Dave Rennie's trying to bring in, a faster game. So that's okay to promote that game, but if you don't win collisions, they slow you down at the breakdown. Well, you can't play a fast game, can you?
No.
You got to play a kicking game. So what we'll see is, hopefully, we'll see Roygaard and Love managing the game really well, the forwards competing really well, and then of course that if we can get fast. If the All Blacks can get fast ball, how dangerous they are with the quality of the backs that they've got.
I think in the first 3 games of the Nations Championship, the All Blacks, they started, their first game was helter-skelter. They sort of, for me, they overplayed, and then by the end they seemed to have their balance a bit better. So it looked like they've sort of trying to cover all boxes. It's not like they're going to come here and throw the ball around willy-nilly if the Boks are rushing them and they're under pressure. They do have players in that team that have got great kicking games. Roygaard at 9 is phenomenal. I agree with you. I think he potentially could be the best in the world right now. I would have said Jamison, Gibson Park, but I think he's sort of not playing how he was playing a little while ago. And then you've mentioned whoever they pick at 10 and Geordie at 12, and 13 is going to be a royal battle, isn't it? You've got Quinta Pye coming off a great series, but you still got Billy Proctor, and there's others. So
look, at the end of the day, Bash, if the forwards can front up and scrum well against the Springboks, and then the 8, 9, 10, 12 for the All Blacks, for me, are world class. And I'm a big Love fan. I just love watching him play for the Hurricanes, and I'm put it out there right now. He's as good, if not better, than Sasha.
Really,
So All Blacks have got their own, and I'll keep saying we because I'm a Kiwi boy. But we've got a lot of power and we've got a lot of skill, and right now that looks like it's a pretty happy camp. They're tracking along pretty well. They're creating some competition for places, as you do in a squad like the All Blacks. So it's exciting, Beshi. So
I watched Rez on a commentary the other day. He was saying, like, regardless of what happens on this tour, they're going to come back a better team for it. There's a lot of, not just the rugby, you spoke about living together for a long time and getting their culture, and we felt that when you go away for a long time with a team, they really get to know the coaches, not just on the field, but living together in court sessions and off the field, that kind of stuff. So I think for them, this tour is also going to be a really good opportunity for them to get their identity back, whatever it is. But they're gonna leave here a better team than they arrive.
Hopefully not do battered, but anyway.
Yeah.
But and also too from a touring point of view, a lot of these boys haven't been to South Africa because there's no Super Rugby. So a lot of these guys, it's first time to South Africa. Now let's face it, touring in South Africa is way different to touring in places like England and France. When you're over there as an All Black, you get clapped everywhere. Like when you're playing with the Welsh, they send like a little horses and carriage to lead the bus and everyone stands around clapping. That does not happen at Ellis Park. Because I was watching a little podcast with Sam Kane. He was saying how the bus was pulling in and they were pulled up alongside a supporters bus and they were all getting the finger, the All Blacks.
In the old days, it was an Archies.
Yeah.
I used to wear they're throwing an Archies at the foreigners that were coming in.
So Dane Cole's being a beautiful person that he is, he stands up and gives the finger back to the supporters. So you get it's an intense place to come, and that's why I guess they're calling it the greatest rivalry, because it is the greatest rivalry. Everyone around the world is going to be watching these 3 tests in South Africa. They won't be doing anything else.
No.
That viewership is going to be massive on television, and we'll probably be watching it on TV too, won't we, Bash? Unless someone hands us a free ticket, then we'll go.
Yeah,
maybe someone out there.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about those initial games. If we've just spoken earlier about the number of players that are going to be out of competitions. We've got our Currie Cup on the go. We've got the URC team out. We've got Springboks away, 50 Springboks away with Rassie or 44, whatever they are. I mean, the teams that are going to play against the All Blacks, the Stormers, I'm not sure what kind of teams those are going to be.
No, they're going to be great, are they?
I don't think they're going to be great. So,
great. I mean, but saying that, though, listening to the media in New Zealand and all these podcasts and that, they're all talking about how tough these provincial games are going to be. But I don't know if they will be that tough.
And that's my concern, is that how are they going to really be tested?
URC boys haven't played. They're sitting there doing pre-season And,
Yeah.
you know, they've got a game against one of the best teams in the world in 2 weeks' time,
Yeah.
and all these All Black boys are going to push for places, and they'll be pretty intense battles. So yeah, I'm a bit fearful of potentially what the All Blacks could do to the Stormers, to the Sharks, to the Lions, to the
They
to the
could they
Bulls.
could get a lot of confidence before that first test, you know, with what could happen pending the teams that get selected to
Yeah,
play
but-
against them.
They might get that, but you know what it's like when you run out at Ellis Park. Is it Ellis Park first test?
The first test, Ellis Park, you know,
Wow, nice.
and then Ellis Park on the Saturday. They play the Lions on the Tuesday, and then it's 3 more tests back to back, with the 4th one being in Baltimore. That 4th one's they play on the 5th, and 7 days later than America. So that's going to be a tough old haul for the players getting out of South Africa and have to recharge again.
Well, it's 1 o'clock, Bash, and you know what? We didn't actually have anything to talk about. And
Lucky we didn't have any content
And
today.
not even one song.
Can we?
oh, we could put in the song now. If you
No, I'm
want.
saying that was you smashed it. Look at you. I'm so
Well,
proud.
See,
I
when we
still-
start talking rugby, it's just so easy. It flows, eh? And colonoscopies.
Colonoscopy and rugby, I'm telling you.
Get your prostate done, Bash. Okay.
Balls and
I've
bums.
done mine. I told you I did it in January. Mine's perfect. He said it was like a perfect
It's just
prostate.
perfect.
I'm not going back for a second opinion. I can tell you that.
I wanted to also say to you boys, thank you very much for hooking us up with your friend Gordy upstairs at Hooters.
Gordy, that is a legend. Let
We
me
are
tell
having
you.
a Hooters Play Live tonight
Wow.
from 6 to 7. You boys are welcome to come.
Yeah, I'll be there.
In the studio here, we've got DJ, her name is Mandy, she's DJ Lady Muse. She's going to be playing a live set from 6 to 7. We are all going to be sitting outside here with Hooters serving us. Down here, I'm
Not
gonna
going to be
have-
too cold for you.
Oh, I've got jerseys.
Okay.
And also, this is my box, so I can sit in my own box if I need to. Do
Let
wanna
me
sit
tell
in my
you-
box as well.
Love to.
Kerry, you tell Gordy to bring his guitar and let him play.
No,
he
thank
is
you.
phenomenal.
Oh, is he?
He is unbelievable.
Like when you've been drinking. Only,
Yeah, very good at
have you
drinking
heard-
songs.
Have you heard him when you were sober?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
Can't-
that's what I
No,
wanted
to say.
no,
No, probably
it's
not.
not sure, never.
Because everyone's an amazing singer. When
No,
you-
but I
once
say
you
that. He
margarita
used to
down.
sing in the
No, he is proper.
He
Oh, is it?
proper.
No, he's
Yeah,
proper.
We should get Gordy in here.
He would be brilliant. That's a good idea. We need to get Gordy
Let's
in
get
here.
Gordy in to come and do a little thing, and then we'll make him sponsor your show.
When I went to watch the Irish game, he organised my ticket, and I sat with him, you know, through the game in Ireland, in his hometown. It was
Oh,
such a
wow.
beautiful experience, you know.
Oh, you guys are mates.
very good mates with Gordy. We played rugby together, Crusaders.
No way.
I can tell you stories about Gordy, Justin, that'll have you in tears.
Well, I think maybe why don't we invite him to join you guys for a segment one week?
Okay. All right.
Because
That's
I mean,
good. It'd be great if the Irish were playing, wouldn't it? We could tie him because he's Irish, and when they're
Yes.
playing the Irish,
Imagine.
it would just be work, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Being Irish, but the Irish aren't playing.
maybe we'll have like a beer tasting or something here while he's.
Well, he's good at that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
good.
guys, it's 1 minute after 1.
Oh, we get paid overtime.
Yes.
Thank
Ask
you.
CEO. Fiona will do that.
Okay.
Anything exciting happening now, boys? What you up to? You're going for a massage? You're going
Well,
to
we're coming to
school?
the Hooters thing tonight.
Are
aren't
you going
we?
to come to the Hooters thing tonight?
I've got no plans.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't
sort
have
of.
plans, come.
Okay.
Come over a drink with us.
Okay.
It's on us.
I'll ask Laura see if she lets me out.
Okay, well, should we write a letter?
Laura will be only too happy to see the back
I'll
of you.
send a
Don't
letter
you
in the-
worry about that.
Oh,
In the
my.
homework book. I mean, if Laura can come, she is my favourite.
Okay, I'll
It
bring
goes
Laura.
Tane, Laura.
Okay. All right. I'll bring Laura. Okay.
This is Radio Play ZN. You've been listening to TMO.